And welcome back. So I got you zoomed in on the XTOOL D8 scan tool that you saw in the previous video when we had the engine squared away in this truck. And I made a mention that we picked up this scan tool because we needed the ability that this scan tool had that my launch scan tool did not. And that ability is to read the PIN number out of the existing vehicle for the purpose, in this case, what we're going to try to use it for is to program some new key fobs to this truck. Now, with that being said, my understanding is if you're on good enough terms with your local Chrysler dealership, because Chrysler in particular requires a PIN, as with most newer vehicles that use these transceiver type fobs. I'm sorry, you can barely see that. Let me get a shop light going up here. There we go. These particular fobs that you see here, let me see if I can wedge that in a seat there so we can get some permanent light. There we go. Fobs like this are the transceiver type fobs. Most vehicles, in order to program a set of these, you have to have a PIN, and Chrysler in particular uses a 4-digit PIN. So if you're on good terms with your, like I said, your local Chrysler dealership, and you come in there and you show proof of ownership, they may give you this PIN or they may not. Now, with that caveat being said, I'm using this to see if it will actually pull the PIN and allow me to program these fobs without paying the dealer a visit. Now, I will caveat with that with saying that I'm doing this on my personal vehicle. I own this vehicle. I have the registration. I have the title. I'm not doing this on a vehicle I do not own. And I say that because methods like these, unfortunately, are the same methods that your less honorable individuals out there use in order to pair their own key fobs with your vehicle and steal it. But again, if you're on good terms with your dealership and you can get your PIN numbers that way, great. I'm going to try this to see if it will allow me to get the PIN number for this vehicle as well as the other vehicles that I own. And the reason why we need new fobs for this vehicle is because the key that it came with, and I'll show it to you. I can't show it to you right now because unfortunately it's in the ignition and we only have the one key for this vehicle. It's not it's kind of a scaled down fob. It doesn't have the lock unlock. It doesn't have the panic button. It's this part of the fob which goes into the ignition module, or the wind module as they call it, and it has a key cut on it. So it's just enough of a kind of like an emergency type fob to allow you to unlock the truck and then start the truck and run it. Now, it would be nice to be able to put back a set of proper fobs where you have a panic button again and you can lock and unlock the vehicle from a distance. It'd be nice from a security aspect alone just to be able to hit panic and lock and unlock as needed. Now, these aren't the Chrysler ones. These are admittedly the generic ones you get off Amazon. They are wicked cheap. They're about a fraction of the cost of the dealership keys. But like I said, you need that PIN number. So I'm going to test the metal. The first thing we're going to test on the scan tool is one of their claims is to be able to read PIN numbers. So we're gonna give that a try now. Now, I'm going to start up a recording on this scan tool as well in the event that I can figure out how to get my very basic Windows video editing software to do an overlay or a picture-in-picture, and then I'll use it. If not, I'll just have to keep you zoomed in on the scan tool itself. So first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and start a recording of this. So we're going to come into special functions. I believe that's where it's at. Key programming. And yes, this is just their screen saying don't be doing things that you shouldn't be doing, and they're not liable for any damages that you may cause. And I believe we have a Dodge one here. There we go. I do have the key in the on position. That's why I said earlier I couldn't show you the key because I only have one key. I'm going to do select by vehicle. And I believe they have a Ram. 2006 to 2013 because we have a 2009 connected. Let's see if we can read our PIN. PIN is 7059 for this particular truck. It's a good deal. We've got our PIN. Now let's see if we could take it a step further and actually program a key. So 7059. Now, let's check something else first. Number of keys. It says there are 4 keys registered to this vehicle, of which we only have 1. So there's 3 other keys out there somewhere. I don't necessarily like the idea that somebody else has an active key that can start this vehicle. So I want to try this. So 7059. Let's see if we can erase a key. Let's put our code in. 7059er. Done. Okay. Successfully erase. Okay. Now, let's see if we have any more keys. Number of keys 0, so it actually wiped all the keys out. So what we want to do is now we want to program a blank key. Switch the key to the off position, insert the key, and then turn it back on and hit OK. So our key is off, old key is out. Put our fob in, back in the on position. We're going to hit OK. Okay, number of keys 1, so it says it has that one programmed. Now, we're going to once again go into program blank key. So we're going to turn the key off. We're going to take our other new fob, do the same thing. And then we're going to say, OK. Presses key. Number of keys 2. So there you go. We now have 2 keys that should be programmed to this vehicle. Now to test it, let's see if we can lock and unlock the truck at this point. Oh, beautiful. Check that out. Look at that. That was worth every penny of it right there. That the fact that this scan tool can read those pins and program those keys. Now, to be fair, now that we have the pin number for this particular vehicle, you can actually use the launch scan tool to do the same thing. Again, that's the one piece that it wouldn't do, was reading the pins. Now, I'm curious on this program old key, if we can program this one, and let me show it to you. This is what I was talking about earlier. These are one of these basic keys where all you can do is lock and unlock your vehicle and start and run it. So it's kind of like a good emergency key. So let's see if it'll let us program this one back in, so that way we'll have a, a nice one that's been cut. Because what you have to do with these ones when you get them, because these fobs, they're not obviously not cut to your key because everybody's lock is a little bit different. But to show you here, yeah, it's a bit of a pain to get that to release. There we go. See, when you get them, they're just a blank key that you then have to find somebody who's willing to cut them for you. And even locksmiths get a little bit weird when you bring them just the keys to cut. Sometimes they'll do them, sometimes they won't. But let's see if we can program an old key. Okay, so turn the ignition off, do the same thing. We're going to put the old key back in, turn it to on, and hit OK. Says procedure complete. Number of keys 2. Okay, let's see if our other one still works. Yep, we can still lock that one. We can unlock with this one. Let's take that out. Now I'm going to put in one of the other fobs. Now what I want to see is number of keys. Number of keys 3. Beautiful. Okay, that's what I was looking for. I'm not quite sure why the last screen said number of keys was just 2 when it is clearly 3. So beautiful. Like you saw here, it did the job. It did the job quite well. It's perfectly capable of reading the pin number. We're able to erase all the old keys, so now we don't have to worry about 3 other miscellaneous keys floating out there and who knows whatever land that had the ability to now start this truck, which now they can't. Now, I know what you're going to think. Because it's on this video, and that pin number is now known, well, again, like I said, it's not hard, as you saw, to get the pin number for the vehicle. And I've seen plenty of other automotive channels do key programming and module replacements, and they show the pin number when they're doing it. I mean, the fact is, if somebody wants to steal your vehicle and they've got the right equipment to do it, they're going to be able to plug in, just like I did here, read the pin number within a couple of seconds, and then be good to go. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do kind of the ultimate test. And actually, let's see what time of night it is, because I don't want to scooch the, I don't want to tick the neighbors off when I do this. So it is, oh yeah, okay, it's not too terribly late. So I'm going to go take the battery charger off, because I've had a battery charger on this, and the reason why I did is because I made a boo-boo. I made a little bit of a faux pas. When we first got this truck from the auction block, and I had the launch scan tool you see here, I was first playing around with the launch scan tool, trying to figure out how to do key programming, and just kind of playing with the tool, trying to learn it. And if you put that pin number in incorrectly too many times, the module goes into what they call an anti-scan lockout mode. And in order to get that to reset, what you have to do is take a knowingly good key. In this case, I had to use this one. Put it in the ignition, turn the ignition to the on position, turn the ignition to the on position, and let it sit there for 1 hour. And I actually sat in the truck for an hour and let it do this. And when it did that, all of a sudden, about 1 hour passed, the dash dinged. And what that does is that resets that lockout in that module. At least in this particular Dodge, it does. I'm assuming that it's probably the same reset method for all of them. And once that was reset, then I was able to come in here and successfully program the new keys. So FYI, that's why I got to go out and take the battery charger off, because I was just using the battery charger to kind of keep everything maintained. So let me go to do that. I'm going to cut the camera at this point. I'm going to stop the recording on the scan tool, because I think we've got enough at this point. There we go. And what I will do then is cut the camera at this point and take the battery charger off, bring you back, and we'll start the truck with one of the newer fobs, and then we'll give it a shot. Talk to you in a bit. Okay, welcome back. So again, we got one of our new fobs here. Sorry, I realize it's dark out here. This is crap lighting. There we go. So we've got one of our new fobs. Gonna get you on the dashboard here. You can see that that security light should go out, and it did. Let's see if we can start. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, we may be out of gas. There we go. A little bit of a stumble. We'll have to keep an eyeball on it and see if that continues. Like I said, we may be out of gas as well. It may have bled all the pressure off the fuel system. If that's the case, it may be a bad pump. Which the good thing is we do have a new pump on the way. So that's good. That fob starts the truck. We'll let it come down on idle here. Okay, we're going to cut it, and then we're going to try the next one. Beautiful. We have 2 functioning key fobs now for this vehicle. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to let that idle down a bit before I turn it off. So I usually don't like turning them off when they're in the midst of coming down into normal idle. There we go. All right, perfect. All right, beautiful, 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 beautiful. Okay, so that'll conclude this particular video. Again, just doing some key programming using the XTOOL D8. What we will do next is, in the next video, we're going to use this scan tool, and we're going to start going through a lot more of the diagnostics type functions. And now that I've hit the wrong button, there we go, I want that button right there. I want to go back using the upper arrow. And then what we can do is start going through some of these other functions and seeing if we can figure out where utilities like being able to graph data and look at the O2 sensors and misfire data and things of that nature may be hidden within these menus. But with that, I'm going to conclude the video at this point. Like I said, I will try to see if the Windows software that I have will allow me to overlay what I recorded on the XTOOL just to make it easier to see. But if I can't do it, I apologize ahead of time, and I'll just use the zoomed in footage we have here. But with that being said, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. It'd be much, much appreciative. It'll help us grow this channel and continue to bring even more interesting content. We're not quite done with this truck yet. We got some surprises in store and some additional upgrades coming down the pipe. And, I think you might like it. But with that being said, I will let you go, and I'll talk to you later. Thank you much.